Good morning, my friends. Well, mostly good afternoon to most of you. Welcome to this episode of Happiness After Codependency. This is episode 3 in the series I'm calling Emotional Well-Being. If you're new to me, welcome. I'm Marshall Bircher, and I help codependents rediscover their well-being and their happiness after narcissistic abuse. And today we will be discussing holding space, the critical practice to emotional freedom and integration. So before we get started today, I need to share this out to the community. The community is your safe haven here on the internet where you can find tools, you can find support, you can find guidance in your journey beyond codependency. You can also find out you're not alone in this journey, that you're actually quite sane, you're not crazy, and you're not the only one that's experiencing this. It's you can see that your experience is real. What you've been going through is valid. The link is above on Facebook, below on YouTube, and I need to get that shared out to them right now. So I'm going to do that here. Let me know how you guys are doing in the comments below. Ah, there it is. And boom, here we are. So let me know how you're doing. And today it's really a tool, a concept and a tool day. You'll notice in the description that there's a link to the tool. It's called the Holding Space version 4 tool. This tool is one I use extensively throughout the majority of my trainings, I would say. And it is taken from the Heal Yourself strategy, specifically where I help codependents rediscover or help them restore their sanity, safety, and self so that they can heal from narcissistic abuse. And there's a word here for it. What it does is it reshapes your foundation. It puts you back into your sovereignty, ending your need for codependency. All right, so holding space. How does this relate to emotional well-being? So emotional well-being is the concept of I'm able to receive what I feel without making it wrong, without making it right, without trying to control it, fix it, interrupt it, without trying to make meaning out of it. But instead, I'm able to let emotions inform me and kind of give me a sense of enlightenment, a sense of understanding of what I'm experiencing, of what's going on for me internally in response to a situation. Inform me about my boundaries, what my needs and wants might be in that situation, and also illuminate me to my own story, my own biography, to what I've been through. Because honestly, guys, if you're having emotions about something going on that are really intense, like a triggered reaction or something like that, it tells the story of what you've been through. If you encounter a subject in your life, maybe, for instance, love, the idea of falling in love, and you get all this anxiety and this panic. That anxiety and panic are the narrative of what you've been through. That would tell me that your experience with love has been scary, it's been unstable, it's been unreliable, and it's felt threatening. No wonder you're having anxiety or panic around that. So emotions illuminate us to our own truth, to our own experience. And they're there as a guide, as an assistant in helping us grow and develop and mature into who we are. They also signal unmet needs or needs that need nourishment, and they also signal us to our wants and to our boundaries. Things we want, things we don't want, aka a boundary. Yes and no's right there. So in emotional well-being, we need to learn how to cultivate what I call space. Now, this is not an unusual concept in healing. Space is the ability to, it's basically the capacity to receive something. It can be an emotion, it can be a sensation, it can be an experience, it could be a person, it could be a thought, it could be an outcome. Well, holding space is a practice that assists us in accomplishing that and making this a normal practice in our day-to-day life, where we are habitually making space and holding space for whatever shows up in our experience. This is critical not only to our healing, because then we can allow our pain to come forward, to be seen, to be validated, to be legitimized and ultimately integrate, which creates a result of closure, but it also allows us to receive our joy. It It allows us to receive love. It allows us to receive inspiration. It allows us to connect with ourselves, with our value, with our sense of value, our voice, our vision. It allows us to see others and receive them as they are. So holding space has a really powerful effect in our ability to show up and to connect and to understand ourselves and each other and to be happy. It also gives us the capacity to navigate the complexities we encounter in our daily lives. I mean, you could have happiness and anxiety all at the same time. Or a practice in allowing ourselves to receive what shows up and let it take up space without trying to fix it, attach to it, or analyze it. It allows us to integrate those things, to have them both and to understand ourselves. So I'm going to touch on 3 habits that we do in our emotional experience that tend to inhibit our well-being and tend to inhibit our happiness, our ability to move through difficult feelings, whether those are positive or negative feelings, and to have more capacity to receive what shows up for us. And I call these the 3 habits. I teach them in almost every single one of my courses, especially the Heal Yourself strategy and Know Yourself strategy. So the first one is resistance. We resist what we feel. We deny it. We're like, get away. I don't want this. This is scary. We push it away. We ignore it. We deny it. We set it aside. We shut down. If you have an avoidant attachment style, you're really good at resistance. You're really good at ignoring it, setting it aside, putting it over there, tuning it out. Now, resistance creates a problem for us because now we aren't in contact with ourselves. Instead, we're actually, running on autopilot. We're reacting to situations. And what happens to the emotions is they go in the shadow. They go behind us. They are in the background, and they pop out in ways that are sideways, like bursts of anxiety or anger or irrational fixation on something. Because that part of yourself that's expressing the emotion wants your attention, and that part is going to get your attention any way it can. Now, little like rabbit trail here. I see emotions as a language from within us. So we all have these things, I call them aspects of self. Some people call them parts or inner children, things like that. They often try to get our attention by signaling to us through emotion. So they give us a sensation, they're asking for something or they're pointing something out. Kind of like a little kid that's tugging on your fingers, things like that. So when we're really attuned to ourselves, we're listening to these inner aspects of ourselves and then connecting to and taking care of what they want and what they need and parenting ourselves. So a little rabbit trail here brings us back to resistance. We're not attuned to ourselves, so we don't know what our boundaries are. We don't know what we want. We don't know what we need. We end up feeling very numb, very empty, very frustrated, and very hungry. We seek out pleasure. We seek out connection in ways that typically don't add to our well-being and happiness. We often end up feeling very lonely in that experience. So that's resistance. Then we have attachment. Now, attachment is, I need this and I need to keep it around. It's taking a feeling we're having or a sensation or experience we're having and trying to keep it here. We can feel it slipping away and we're like, come back. We just try to amplify it more. We try to keep it around more. It's like trying to squeeze the lemon for the last of its juice. If you have anxious attachment style, you're likely going to be attaching a lot and trying to control the feeling, trying to keep it close, trying to make it happen more because you don't want to deal with the space between you and that emotion and the fact that the emotion is leaving on its own. Now, attachment tends to inhibit our ability to receive more. It tends to inhibit our ability to understand and relax and move into different states of feeling so that we can understand our dynamic sense of self and our dynamic experiences. And it tends to lead us to try to control what we feel rather than receive and respond to what we feel. Often we get a lot of anxiety with that around our emotions and trying to feel the right thing and have the right emotion, things like that. Now it leads to a lot of perfectionism, a lot of anxiety, and a lot of pain. Not much fun there. The third thing we do is analyze. I got a feeling. I got to figure out why it's here so I can get rid of it or fix it or make it right. We don't actually receive the feeling and move into understanding its message. Instead, we're like, that's a feeling, and now I got to figure out what to do with it. That's the one thing we all do. I mean, it's extremely common for us to analyze our feelings and try to find the meaning, the reason, the purpose of why it's there, rather than actually just listening to it, and it will gladly tell you. You can even ask it, like, hey, what are you trying to tell me? And it will tell you. Analysis disconnects us from being able to receive ourselves, to hear ourselves, and then respond appropriately to what's showing up for us. And it leads to a lot of resistance and a lot of attachment, and usually a mix of those two. So these three habits tend to inhibit our ability to actually be emotionally tuned to ourselves, connected to ourselves, and thus emotionally mature. Without emotional maturity, we can't have emotional accountability, which means we can't have safe, secure attachment and connection with others. And we can't really advocate in a strong position for ourselves because we're going to be pulled by other people's points of view, their emotions, our own reactivity, things like that. Well, holding space is the key to helping us begin. It's the key to ending these three habits and restore connection, and then through that connection, restore understanding and awareness of what is coming up within us. So it's a very simple practice. The MP3 is linked, or the YouTube video for it is linked above on Facebook, below on YouTube. What it is it's a simple guided practice that teaches you how to become aware and observant of what you feel, and then allow it to take up a little more space in your awareness, and then to see what else shows up after that, and allow that to take up a little more awareness. That's it. Holding space has nothing to do with resisting, analyzing, or attaching to the feeling. It has nothing to do with fixing the feeling. Really, the goal is like, wow, this anxiety is arising in my chest. Breathe into it. Oh, wow. It's taking up a little more space. Oh, it's beginning to relax. Oh, it's becoming a little more intense. Oh, it's beginning to relax. We're more or less the observer of what's in the space. And as you practice this, what you'll discover is the emotions that are showing up for you start to get less and less intense, less and less big or occupying, and a lot easier to hear, to understand, and to respond to, so that you have more regulation. You have more capacity for dealing with, surprises, upsets, and joy in your world. And ultimately, you start finding yourself having more space between emotions, where you start to find calmness, peace, intuition, things of that nature. So that's today's training, my friends. Go out, try the tool. I recommend doing it daily. I do it all the time. In fact, I've been doing it all this training, just allowing whatever is here with me to arise. That's the cool part with that, is you can do it. Nobody will even know you're doing it once you get really practiced in it. So it's essential to becoming connected with ourselves, to moving through our pain, allowing ourselves to integrate or find closure with trauma or unresolved hurts in the past, and ultimately understand ourselves so that we can know, love, and live who we are. So there you go, my friends. That is today's training. Check out the tool. Give it a shot. Remember that you're worth knowing, loving, and keeping. Now, if you're on YouTube, hit that subscribe button. Thank you guys for being here with me, and I will see you guys in our next training video, okay?